I'm sitting here with Miss Kitty, and I wanted to show you guys a little something because this is one of those things that I see happen frequently. So Miss Kitty's not feeling so good right now, so she wants to be by me. She came over here, I sat down, and she came and stood by me. But I want to show you something. Watch closely. Okay, so I put my hand out, and she reached out and touched me. But now watch again. Do you see how when I put my hand up, she moved her head away? And then look, do you see her take a step away? That's her saying, I don't want you to touch me. I don't feel good. I just want to sit here. She's like, I don't want to be alone, but I don't want to be touched. So that's something that a lot of people don't watch for with the horse. And they, I see it happen in my barn all the time. And I'm going to show you one more time just so you can see. See that? Extremely obvious. So many people would force petting on that horse. This horse does not want to be pet right now. That's the hardest part with my job, is explaining to people, without them being offended, that horse doesn't want you in its space. That horse doesn't want you to touch them. So what I try to always do is wait until a horse reaches for me. So if I simply put my hand out and my horse reaches for me like that, that's great. And I'll just let her sniff me. But I'm not going to go and force love on this horse. It's not what she wants. Pay attention to the horse. Listen to what the horse wants and pay attention to their needs. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a video that I saw, and it was of a gal. And if she's watching this video, I will not say names at all, but if she's watching this video and she hears this, that's great, because it's a learning experience. So basically what was happening is this gal was backing up a horse. And when she was backing up the horse, she had a fair amount of pressure on the reins and was lifting the reins in upward position. Now, nothing about the rider's body said, let's back up. Everything was very kind of rigid. There was a lot of pressure everywhere. And the horse was backing up in a crabby manner because there was no release in pressure. So what I do is when I go to back up my horse, there's always a release with every single step. So there was no release whatsoever, just constant pressure. And then the horse took, 6, 7 steps back, I don't remember, and reared up. And then the pressure was released at that moment, and the rider laughed. And then in the comments said something about how he was, being crabby or naughty or something, and how he loves to rear and buck. The reason that horse is doing that is because there's no release in pressure except for when the horse goes up in the air. And people think that this is fun and it's a trick and it's cool and whatever else. And you watch that horse's expression. He was gnawing at his bit and he was so irritated. His ears were set in a aggravated manner. His tail was swishy. You got to watch those expressions because it means a lot. And the fact that, he didn't get any kind of a release, he just got crabbier and crabbier, and then he did what he felt he needed to do to get rid of pressure, and bingo, it worked perfectly. So now the next time somebody gets on that horse, say it be a beginner and they're taking a lesson on that horse or something, because it appears that it's a lesson pony or something. But if somebody who doesn't know is on that horse, and then they go to if they get scared or something and pull back on the reins out of not knowing any better, and that horse rears up, for one, imagine how that rider could potentially get hurt. What if that horse loses its balance and falls over? What if that rider loses their balance and falls off? Now you've just potentially terrified a rider for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? People come through my barn and they either come here with somebody or they come because they want to try riding again and they've had a bad experience. I have so many people that come through because their daughter rides, or their son rides, or grandson, or whoever, and they genuinely love the animal, but they're terrified of them. And it's because they had a bad experience. So I look at stuff like that and I'm like, why on earth would you do that? But then again, I also think to myself, how many dumb things have I done with my horse over the years? And how many fantastic learning experiences did I get from my horse because I did things that they didn't appreciate? Now, unfortunately, the horse is the one who has to suffer in that situation because they're the one that has to put up with us. And so, I try not to shame anyone for what they're doing currently. Everybody is on a journey, just like I am. We're all in our own place with horsemanship, and some people want to better their horsemanship. Some people don't really care. They're just looking for a blue ribbon or, adrenaline rush or whatever. But I think that people who truly love horses and want to offer the horse the best that they possibly can, pay attention to the horse's needs and try to become better horsemen, horsewomen, and I think that's really important. So the moral of my story is, just like Miss Kitty's expression right now, like she could leave. She doesn't need to be by me, but she wants to be right here by me. But she doesn't want me being all lovey-dovey with her. She wants to be left alone, and I respect that. I have enough respect for this horse to know that. If you went up to somebody and, like everybody's got a friend that probably really likes to hug, and then you probably got friends who just really don't like hugs or they're not comfortable with it, and you respect that. It's an individual preference, and maybe, she just doesn't really feel so great right now, so she's just really not wanting that attention. Think about somebody who just, they really need a hug because they're sad or whatever, and it'll make them feel better, and you can kind of feel that, so you give them a hug, and it's great, but then there's the people that you maybe didn't read it right, and you go to give them a hug, and they're very stiff about it, and that maybe wasn't the right thing to do. That's what we need to pay attention to. So I didn't plan on doing this video at all. This just sort of came up when I reached out for Miss Kitty when I was sitting here and she did that. I'm like, I'm going to show this as an example. Sometimes I'm not feeling so great, and this horse isn't feeling good. So I'm sitting out in the barn with her because she doesn't feel good, and I want to make sure that she's okay. There's a lot of people who are really worried about Miss Kitty. Today is March 8th. And Miss Kitty's been having a lot of problems since October. So I'll give you a quick little rundown. Basically, when she choked in October, that was the first sign that there was something going on. So after she choked, we had 2 different vets out for 2 different reasons, and we found a mass in her mouth. So from the day that she choked, I started wetting her grain. And that was going just fine until Thanksgiving weekend. We had a pretty bad storm, and I kept Miss Kitty in the barn in a stall overnight. And typically she would have access to going in and out from there, but I wanted her to stay in just because it was pretty nasty, and I didn't want the stall to fill up with snow. And so I left her in, and she didn't eat at all, and she paced, and she was very upset. And this is a horse that's really never minded being in a stall at all. I don't keep my horses in stalls hardly ever. When we go to events and stuff, that's one thing, but this horse has been in a stall, enough throughout her life. She's totally comfortable with it. So that was upsetting to me that she was so upset, and the fact that she didn't eat anything that was left for her overnight, nor did she drink anything, and you could tell her stall was just a mess. And so this was Thanksgiving weekend, and pretty much like the whole weekend, she wouldn't eat. After that, I was very desperate because I was worried to feed her anything that was not soaked, because I did that once just as an experiment to see, hey, does she really need this? And she had immediately choked on it. It was mild, but she did. So I really did not want to feed her anything that wasn't soaked because I was really worried about her choking. Well, when you're in a position where a horse won't eat what you're giving them, you let them eat anything that they'll eat. So I took a risk at her choking, and I gave her several different things, and she started eating a little bit at a time, and she really slowed down. So I think she knew that she needed to be slow with it. So with that all being said, I think Miss Kitty had a lot of stress from that. And I think the other horses knew it, and the other horses started driving her away. And if you see like the blanketing videos that I posted from this, I think January, you'll see that she just started to act very different. And we've been dealing with issues with her just eating less and less and losing weight, and we've had some bouts of like colicky situations. So that's been really stressful and really scary. Her colic type symptoms were bad enough where I did have to call the vet to come out on emergency. And as anybody who's ever had an emergency visit knows, that if you need a vet after hours, it's going to be pricey. And we had to pump her stomach. We did a rectal, and well, I didn't do anything. I held the horse. And my husband and I, we were gone for a week recently. We just got back a couple days ago, and we went to visit some friends in Canada. And it was really hard to leave because of everything that was going on. But I had people taking care of her that I was very confident. But so she's been doing pretty good, but she's also been getting sucralfate. And she had her last dose of it 2 days ago. And now suddenly today we got symptoms back. So she's been doing so good, and now that's what's going on. I'll still post all the videos. I know I don't want it to get confusing where I show videos out of sequence, but like I said, in the playlist I do put them in chronological order so it makes sense. So I will continue to post the videos that I have taken of her over time just so you can see the progression. My goal here is to help educate, and if I can take all these experiences that I'm going through and put it out there, maybe somebody else can say, oh my gosh, my horse is doing that, you know, and then they kind of might have an idea as to what direction to go. Maybe somebody doesn't have access to vet care. You know, there was a period of time where we really didn't have much in our area, and it was really hard to figure stuff out on your own. So, but just to know like when it's important to call the vet and when maybe you can do something on your own, or just to help somebody figure out what's going on with their horse. That's my goal with this channel. So with that all being said, that's where I'm at. So here I sit, worried with a horse who's not feeling so good. Miss Kitty really needs everybody just to think about her and give her some well wishes, because oh my gosh, she's been through a lot this winter, and it's been pretty heartbreaking, because you know, when you just don't know what to do for them, and then you know, you can financially you can only do so much. Like there's we could just go on and on and on and, you know, haul her off somewhere and do all kinds of stuff, but we got to be realistic. You know, you can only do so much. I'm doing everything in my power to keep this horse comfortable. There's been 2 situations in the last couple weeks where I really thought that I was going to lose her that night. We've got several feet of snow, and if this horse passes right now, it's going to be really hard to do something about that. So we don't have very many options in our area, and so yeah, it is not ideal for a horse to go down this time of year in our area. So I want to do what's best for Miss Kitty. I want to do what's going to keep her the most comfortable, and I want to do what's best for us as well. So it's just a lot. It's a lot to think about. Stay tuned, and I will continue to show you everything that's gone on with her, so you can see the entire process, and maybe one of you will see something that you've been through before, and you'll say, oh, I know exactly what's going on, or you know, whatever. And I really appreciate all that, because I have some really wise, knowledgeable horse people that are viewers of my channel, and I really appreciate that. Okay, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.